Welcome to episode 208 of the Muck Podcast. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Hanna.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
I feel better. Can
you
tell?
You sound so good. We were just saying that. I was just saying, you're like, I feel better. I'm like, I forgot that you were sick, to be honest with you.
Oh my God.
You seem great.
Yes.
I wanted to start the show off with a little prayer. Let's pray to God.
What?
Let's pray to God.
Oh shit. Okay. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Dear Lord, thank you for not making me a Republican. So happy I don't have to pledge allegiance to a criminal.
Yes.
And go on the internet and troll people.
And be in a cult.
Yeah. Ostracize my family.
Yeah.
Sound like a complete fucking moron.
Amen. Amen. Ditto.
All week I was like, you know what? Now let me be clear. I don't pledge allegiance also to the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Like, I have clearly stated that I have a lot of grievances with you motherfuckers, okay? Right. But thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Clarity
that
of mind.
I am not a part of that party. I can't believe the lengths they are going to ensure that Donald Trump is the nominee of this party.
I know.
And Nikki Haley said in a speech this week, which was so good, that all we do is lose under Trump. After he was elected president, they lost the midterms. He lost the presidency. Like, all they do is lose under Trump.
Keep losing.
And she's trying to make the point of, like, I mean, her as a presidential candidate,
nightmare.
Biden would have a fight.
Nightmare.
Like, she seems reasonable compared to Trump.
Right.
Because she's the last dying gasp of an old party.
She had that Tea Party.
Yeah, but still, it's a party that's not a Trump.
She came in with the Tea Party, right? I think she was like one of those.
I'm not sure. But I just kept thinking, I can't believe, like, I would have to kowtow to this. Like, if you've been a lifelong, let's just imagine for a minute, you've been a Democrat your whole life, right? And someone like Trump is the nominee.
No,
what do you do? That's right. You make a point to save your party and say, this is not who we are.
I don't care enough. You know what I mean? Like, I care about
but not
the
to this
policies
point.
And things that Democrats try to put forward.
Right.
And so I'm a Democrat because I want to support candidates and I want to vote in a closed primary state for candidates who I think are going to be the best. However, I am not, like you said, I am not pledging my life to a person who, and all of these politicians should only be there to serve in a short term. These lifelong career politicians, it's outrageous. And the shit that Trump is saying is insane.
It's
like,
crazy.
I mean, let's start going through our list of craziness this week. Yeah. But Trump calling on states to support taking arms against the federal government, to support that Looney Tunes Greg Abbott.
Greg Abbott, yeah.
That Looney Tunes in his whole immigration fight. Woo. But the thing is, and this is my favorite part of it, is that there is a bipartisan bill that they've been working on for immigration. That Trump is saying, don't sign it because he wants to sign it so he could get credit for it. So they have solutions that they are not going to take because they can't give a W to Biden.
Right.
They can't. It eats them up inside. So they would rather cause strife within our country. 25 states.
Yeah.
25 states are on board supporting Abbott.
Well, this all started because there's a case.
Guess who's one of them?
Yeah, of course, but Florida. But like, this all started because there was a Supreme Court case.
Yes.
Where Texas asked the Supreme Court to rule on the wire. There's barbed wire up on this fence, and people are getting hurt. And human beings. Yeah. Let's be clear. Children.
Life.
And so they were suing. Or they were asked the Supreme Court to rule on it. Supreme Court ruled against Texas and said absolutely not. The federal government maintains the border, not Texas. So federal agents went in to remove this barbed wire.
And Abbott had a hissy fit.
The Texas National Guard or whoever's down there are having basically a standoff with them.
Yeah.
And trying to stop the federal government from doing their jobs.
Can you imagine being a member of the National Guard?
But can I also say this to you?
And
when we have talked the last few episodes about how it's going to start.
Oh,
this is it.
Yeah.
This is the Civil War thing This is it. These are states that are going to buck the federal government. Okay, so what you were referring to, that there's a bill right now in the Senate, and it's been in the Senate and the House. It is only border security.
That's it.
That's it. And there's money in there for Ukraine. There is nothing about fixing the immigration system, which is basically a gift to the Republicans. We can fight about immigration rules and policies till the day is long. This is only about helping secure the border to protect federal agents, to protect the police that are there, to protect the people who are coming in, because Texas wants to basically murder people at the border.
Correct.
That's what they want to do. And so this is all about just security. McConnell loves this bill, but because Donald Trump has said, don't fix the border because I want to get credit for that.
Can you imagine?
People will die because of this. People's lives will be affected, and people will die because there's no border security there, including agents.
They are so desperate to hold on to power that they are willing to sell their souls and sell their integrity instead of doing what is right and just passing the only job they have is to pass bills or not pass bills. That's it.
Yeah.
And how in the hell can a citizen, former president, tell elected officials what to do and they follow it?
So
this is insane to me.
Here's why McConnell has to follow it. Okay.
So McConnell's going to know what's going on in 2 months.
No, because he's zoned out.
Come on.
But here's the thing: if McConnell passes it in the Senate, which maybe he could do, Mike Johnson, cuckoo fucking
crazy,
something's off here.
Yeah,
he's already said they're not doing it. The MAGA Republicans in the House who hold this country hostage, they've already said they're not touching it. So if the Senate was to pass it, those Republicans who are running for re-election are now vulnerable to the MAGA folks of like, oh, you support Biden, you don't support Trump, you did this, right? So
take a stand.
They can't.
Politically, it's have some balls.
They can't. Politically, they're fucked.
If you have some balls, maybe other Republicans who have been like, wow, my party sure has gone to shit.
Yeah.
Under these nut jobs, might come out and say, oh, perfect. This is a more moderate Republican that we can get on board with. But they don't want to roll the dice on it. They'd rather sacrifice democracy than lose a goddamn seat.
Yeah. Stopping Trump is the biggest bipartisan fight that we have. Like, everybody should be on board that Donald Trump should not be elected president. Like, there's nothing more clear.
I saw a post. It was like some psychologist came out saying like that he has dementia.
Oh no.
That he has said so many things that just do not make sense.
He keeps saying Nancy Pelosi instead of Nikki Haley.
Yes.
He's saying Nikki Haley instead of Nancy Pelosi. Yes. He was talking about January 6th, and we were trying to send Nikki Haley all the security. We were trying, but he was referring to Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If Joe Biden would have had one tiny slip like that, holy cow, would the alarms been going off? Fox News would be repeating it 24 hours a day on their channel.
Yeah.
But they can't.
Well,
they can't do the same. They dismiss it.
Yeah.
They dismiss it.
Well, here's the thing. So we record on Saturday. So last Saturday we recorded. DeSantis dropped out the next day. And we had discussed that we would go live the second DeSantis dropped out. And so we did. We went live on our Instagram. Go check out that video. And we were all excited. So DeSantis is out.
Yes.
He's crazy. And in his dropping out, he leaves this, it's a 3.5 minute video, and he's endorsing Trump, which is the fucking sickness of this.
The sickness the ring, baby.
Of this is wild to me. But we had talked about also in that Instagram live video that he very clearly is going to be passing his baton to his wife. Like, we all need to be aware Casey DeSantis is like trying to move her way up in this. But so then they go to New Hampshire, and I was sure that she would do better in New Hampshire than she did. She did not. He won New Hampshire by like 30 points. But here's the thing that Nikki Haley, why right now, if I could give a star of the week, it would be to Nikki Haley. Okay, because she doesn't win New Hampshire, and she's like, you know what, we're going to stay in. The woman does not have the money to do it. She got $1 million in donations that day that she said she wasn't going to drop out, and she's going to continue on to South Carolina. Nothing has made Trump more angry. Like, when he won Iowa and DeSantis drops out, he gave this speech and he was kind of like jovial kind of Trump. He wins New Hampshire. She's like, yeah, we're going to stick in. He loses his fucking mind. And I loved it because now we've got that crazy old Trump back and he's going to make these crazy statements. And we need people to see him like that. We need people to see him crazy. Oh, so I love that she's torturing him. Bravo. Stay in as long as you can. I don't care how long she stays in. Well, stay in the race because I want her. Listen, the cases against this guy are just stacking up and he's losing every case. We just saw what happened yesterday.
80? Yeah. Over 80 million. What was
it? $83.3 million.
Because he can't keep his mouth shut.
$83.3 million in the E. Jean Carroll case. Now, we talked about this last week and I put a fucking reel up of me going on and on about Trump and how he was guilty of rape. Now, we've got, thank you for the views, by the way, MAGA trolls. Oh my God. Love the comments on our page.
He's not guilty.
I love
Trump 2024.
Yeah. Oh, he's not guilty of rape. So I'm going to make it clear let me just ask you all a question. Is OJ a murderer? Yes.
Yes.
Was he found not guilty in the criminal case?
Yes.
Was he found guilty in the civil case?
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
And then he wrote a crazy book.
And that this is the same exact thing that happened here.
Yeah.
Trump was not tried because it happened eons ago. Right. But the way that E. Jean Carroll was able to kick that door open is because she sues Trump in the United States Southern Court of New York, New York for defamation and battery. And on May 9th, 2023, a jury found Trump liable for defamation and sexual abuse against Carroll and awarded her $5 million. Now, the way that she was able to do that, they didn't find him guilty of rape, but sexual abuse for sticking his fingers inside her vagina. They didn't find enough evidence to prove that the penis went in, although she said he absolutely raped her. And also, the judge said that. In June 2023, Trump had countersued Carroll for defamation. He tried to sue her after she said that he did this.
He lost.
Yeah, because she said he did rape her on CNN, she said that after she won that first libel case. Judge Kaplan, the judge in that case, dismissed his lawsuit in August, ruling that Carroll's rape claim against Trump was substantially true. Just because the jury couldn't get over that hump of like whatever piece of evidence they're looking for, the judge says it's absolutely true. So he goes on to CNN after he loses that first libel case.
And he runs his mouth.
And he says that she's a whack job and these things she's saying is crazy. She's like, fuck you, takes him back to court and for lying on the CNN, and she wins another defamation case. Another 80, so now she's up to
$83 million.
$88 million total.
That's $83 million she got. And guess what? Now she's got the money. Well, if he ever pays her.
Yeah, no, she'll probably never see it, but the whole point is to get it on record.
Right. This is the thing I don't understand about the new Republican Party. There's something that doesn't match up. They scream about protecting children, protecting life, don't dismember babies, and like all this nonsense about abortion that's not true. And morals, police, all of that. And then the person that you want to put in the highest seat in the land is a rapist. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about how Joe Biden like grabs people's shoulders or whatever, and he's a little touchy-feely because, okay, ew, but he's not a rapist. But you don't want to, but so those claims about Joe Biden are true, but Trump being a rapist isn't true. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then I saw a bunch of these stupid MAGA Republicans at some kind of press conference where they were asked how many of you have been under arrest, and like 6 of them, Lauren Boebert, and others raising their hand and high-fiving each other about how cool it was. But so it's cool to be arrested, and you're not arrested for civil disobedience or, for some actual good cause. It's just because you're wackadoodle. But you're like,
in your personal life.
And then you're like, yay, police. It doesn't make sense. So you're either for law and order and the police and blue lives and babies, but people can die at the border. Like, it doesn't, nothing you say makes sense.
People can die at the border.
You're the biggest hypocrites that have ever been created.
People can die at the border, but then also they can die on January 6th.
Yes.
We're all yay police until the police are trying to protect you.
Right.
And now you want to talk about how January 6th wasn't really what it was.
Oh my God.
Which is the biggest slap in the face to Capitol Police and any other police officer in that building who suffered or died. Because there have been police who have died because of that January 6th. And the lies of trying to dismiss what it actually was doesn't help them. You're traitors. You're all fucking traitors. And Donald Trump is the biggest traitor of all. He's there to enrich himself, enrich his family, and give favors to his political buddies.
Oh.
That's what he wants to be back in
it.
office for. He never, and there's one thing
to make more money.
There's something Nikki Haley also said in her New Hampshire speech. In South Carolina the following day. She's like, if you all go and watch his speech from last night, he never mentions the American people. He never mentions why he wants to be president to help to be make the country better. All he talks about are his enemies, revenge, and getting back into office to avenge things.
Right. And I think that's what the MAGA's like. They love that chaos and that, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they're here for. But that's not what politics is supposed to be about. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to want someone that is going to disrupt, unless they're disrupting things because they're fighting against someone that is like destroying human rights or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this isn't a guy who's fighting for anything. Like, he comes up there and he's like, under me, I'm going to make these changes. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
The cognitive dissonance of this party from what they say they believe and then what the people they support, it's mind-blowing, and it's going to take decades of psychologists to analyze what the hell went wrong in our country.
It'll be too late by then.
Yeah.
I have to tell you.
The other thing, so just one more last Trump thing, just to show that this guy's he's just everything is a money grab for him. Mm-hmm. This office is just about money and securing money for himself and securing power. But my son, I think I sent it to you, he was watching TV at my parents' house because they have like regular cable and so like commercials. And there was a commercial for a Trump $2 bill. There was a Trump $2 bill. Like, he created a $2 bill and removed Jefferson's face and put his mugshot, and he's selling it for $39.99. That's President Trump. That's who you're getting. Yeah. You know what I mean? An infomercial. Like, he's a clown.
But even when you think about who's actually going to buy that, they don't even have $39.99. Like,
but they're going to spend it.
Like, these aren't people who have money lying around, and he's going to take it. He'll take it.
Well, they're going to spend it. It's their damn fault.
So Florida has a bill, HB1, which I'm sure you've heard of because it's been all over the place this week, banning 16-year-old and younger from social media.
Oh, DeSantis said he's going to veto it.
Okay, no. So here's what happened today. This was in the paper today.
Oh, okay.
So basically, DeSantis is saying he loves this bill. He believes in it. He doesn't want it to be challenged in court. Everything else they do. Everything they do is challenged in court, right?
But it does have some bipartisan support.
I don't want to talk about that. Okay? I don't want to talk about it. Because here's the thing. Is social media good for kids? No. Is it the parent's choice to monitor that, to be able to parent their child? Absolutely.
Yes. It's not the government's job. This damn party who talks so much about government overreach are the biggest people who promote government overreach.
Yeah.
They got their hands up our hunay-nays, and now they got their hands in the cradle. You know what I mean?
Hunay sounds fun. That's a fun word for it.
Hunay-nay.
And it is fun. But here's a quote from the paper this morning in Sun Sentinel. It's January 27th. That DeSantis said that really fucking blows my mind. And it goes to just how hypocritical this asshole is. The whole party, really.
Yeah.
He said, quote, "What I would say is I'm sympathetic to, as a parent, what's going on with our youth. But I also understand that to just say that someone that's 15 just cannot have it no matter what, even if the parent consents, that may create some legal issues," end quote. So he's saying that's how, so if I want my daughter who's 15 is allowed to be on Instagram, I have to give her parental consent.
Right.
They're saying even if the parent gives consent, we don't think that that's okay.
Right.
So you're allowed to parent your child on the issues that they believe in, like reading books. Uh-huh. But you can't parent your child when it comes to healthcare decisions, when it comes to looking at social media, when it comes to, what else?
They don't have, they don't even have access to safe sex education.
Parental consent on their terms.
Right.
So if I say it's okay, that's still not okay.
What they think that is, all of this is often rooted in their religious ideology. You know what I mean? Like, I'm over it.
You cannot tell me as a parent what I can do with my child. Fuck you. Fuck you. This is not, your kid must go to school, right? There's a law that your child has to be enrolled in school. That's not what this is.
Right?
This is coming.
Drugs, alcohol,
this is coming into our home, coming onto our phones, and telling us how our children can access information. There was a woman on Twitter who said, I don't know what to do because our school gives a lot of their information through social media.
Yeah, so does ours.
Right? So like, what are you talking about? Now, here's the thing that bothers me, and this is what you really have to read between the lines here. This is the same bullshit of protecting children that was sold to us about don't say gay.
Yep.
Same thing. We have to protect these kids.
To me, it's restricting access to kids so that Taylor Swift can't tell them to go vote.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's stuff like that. They want to...
Tina, it's restricting information full stop.
Yes.
And it's restricting information that they don't like. Now, they're starting with 16 and younger, but what happens next session?
18.
When they say Facebook doesn't really filter fake news like they're supposed to. So now we're not going to allow anybody in Florida to have access to that website. And then CNN doesn't give good information. So we're not going to allow people to have access to CNN in the state of Florida. That's what we're opening the door to. This isn't just about protecting children. And if you think it is, you're a goddamn fool.
Yep.
You're a fucking fool. This is how they did Don't Say Gay. They sell you everything, you dumb motherfuckers, based on protecting children. They don't give a fuck about your kids. We know this. Because they don't care about our bodies as young women. You think that they don't give a fuck? You think they care about your children on social media? This is opening the door to limit the freedom of information, the freedom of the press. This is limiting our access to information as Floridians to have real, true information. This is where it starts. This is it. So do not go along with, do not believe for a second that this is going to stop at 16 and younger. It will continue. And they will do it because they have the power to do it. There's no one that's going to stop them. And if we have bipartisan support, shameful.
Yep.
Shame. Do we need to protect our kids from social media?
Yes.
I absolutely agree with you. Guess what? I have access to my daughter's Instagram.
Yeah.
I see everything that goes in and on that. Are there things that I probably don't see? I'm sure that there are. Are there sneaky ways to get around it? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I have an honest and open conversation with my daughter about social media.
And there are
what do you want from me?
There are restrictions you can do on your phone. Like that's what I do with my kids. You can restrict the websites they have access to.
Yes.
You can restrict the timing. You can restrict the kind of images that they see, that flags if they see anything like that would be nudity or things like that. Like I have all that on my kid's phone. You can also, there are like 2 different apps that you can pay. One is like a really small monthly fee that you can see everything that your child is doing. I feel like you have to give your kids some kind of privacy. But I restrict, and I have their phones shut off at 9 on a school night. Their phones shut off at 9 o'clock.
Well, this is called being a responsible parent. And the government is not allowed to come in and tell you you're not being responsible when it comes to this. This is outrageous. And I'll tell you another reason why it's outrageous, okay? Because what I read in the paper this morning is that the second student this week in Broward County was found with a loaded gun at school. The second student in a week. Where's the Florida legislature to protect our children there?
No, they want to lower the age.
You have children bringing loaded guns into schools, and you want to lower the age to get a gun, but you have some fucking gall to talk to me about how kids shouldn't be on social media, but they have access to guns and they're bringing them to schools where children can be murdered? How dare you? Do your fucking job. Put your head down and do your motherfucking jobs. Stay out of my house. Stay away from my fucking kids. You animals. Woo! I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Well, and the thing that upsets me, because I read some comment, and I think it was on one of on that reel that the magas loved. It was about dismembering babies. That they just want to dismember babies, and all I could think about was dismembering babies. What about the kids who are killed with these AR-15s? You know what I mean? That's dismembering babies. That's dismembering babies. The guns are killing our kids, not abortion, because one, it's not babies, it's cells. They're 2 different things. Like, go read a fucking book. But I forgot they're all banned in the state of Florida.
Yeah, good luck finding one about how a pregnancy happens.
I mean, like you claim to want to protect kids, and you refuse federal money to provide lunch to kids.
Well, Medicaid,
You know what I
refusing
mean?
Medicaid.
Like, you refuse anything that would actually help children, and all you do is hinder, because you, again, it's all about having your soundbite. It's disgusting. And anyone that falls along with it is just like, at this point, you're stupid. Or, you know, you want to call the libs a sheep when you are a sheep. I saw a car this week, and I took a picture of the back of this car because I was like, wow, what's happening here? And it was FJB, fuck Joe Biden, FJB, and then and underneath it said, you know, let's go Brandon. And then there was a cross, but it was made out of the American flag. And then there was like, lions, not sheep. And I was like, I feel
like I've seen this car.
This is like, it was a minivan, this lady's driving it, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why do you have this on your car? Lions, not sheep. You guys are the biggest sheep that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
They are following their little shepherd Donald Trump. But then they're like, we're not sheep. Okay.
It's sick. There's a sickness.
And you know, just to go back to the abortion issue, when you see the state, and I posted something about it in Texas, where there's over 26,000 women who were raped and pregnant from their rapists, who have to carry their rapist baby to term because there's no exceptions. How dare you? And then, thank God, Amendment 4 got put on, is going to be on the ballot in Florida. Thank God. Because women don't want that.
By the way, they're estimating 63,000 women in the last year have had to carry their rapist baby to term across the states.
And where are those babies?
Who's taking care
of? They're either, are they taking care of those babies? And then what? For the rest of their lives, they have to be tied? I need to get child support.
These are based on the states with the strictest abortion laws. So yeah, 26,000 since last session. In Texas, 26,000 women have had to carry their rapist babies to term.
Because Abbott was like, we'll just stop the rapists. How's that working?
Well,
Go talk to the 26,000 women.
Abbott and his Republican legislature, they think these babies are blessings. So you should be lucky. Yeah. You should feel blessed. That you have been able to carry this baby.
Oh, God, no.
Yep.
You are destroying women's lives. But that's what they want. They want to control. They want to keep women
that
under
child's
the thumb.
life. That child's life. And of course, Mike Johnson says that ever since Roe v. Wade passed, we've lost so many people in the labor force. You know, women, you should have to carry those babies to term because we don't have enough people working in America. We need more labor.
Well, that's why they're changing, rolling back child labor. I can't.
We're brood mares, so Mike Johnson has a good, strong labor force. Meanwhile, immigrants are pouring in across the border and they're working. And they don't like that, right? God forbid, Mike Johnson, right? These are people who have families here that are working hard, that are paying their taxes. They're not criminals. This line of bullshit of immigrants are criminals is so fucking out of line. It's so fucking out of line.
Trump was saying something about like, ever since Joe Biden, the jihadists are infiltrating the borders. Like, he's saying it's nonsense.
No, yeah, the new thing is the new thing is Hamas is coming across the Texas border. That's the new thing.
It's insane.
It's insane. Not true. It's absolutely not true.
You know, like he did with the because it was the Mexicans before. They're going to come across. They're going to rape your women. Mm-hmm. Guess who's raping women? You are. You are. And how many times has he paid people off? How many women?
Yeah, I gotta tell you.
Has Trump paid off?
I would be shocked if it stopped.
A rapist, and you want to make this guy your Jesus?
I would be shocked if it started and stopped with E. Jean Carroll.
Oh, okay? No. I would be shocked. No, I saw a list of people that he's paid off in the past.
Oh my God. It's insane.
Because I think once you pay someone off and then they sign that NDA, like they can't come forward anymore.
Also, I saw a story this morning on Twitter that I didn't click on because I have to go back and read it, but it said that Rudy Giuliani's lawyers
are
going to go after Trump to pay Rudy's legal bills because it's his fault that he's in this trouble. So he should have to pay Rudy's legal bills.
Where's your best friend now? Where's your bestie?
Rudy Giuliani has now become the Penguin. Okay? He's basically looks like the Penguin.
He does, now that you say it.
I thought that was Roger Stone, but it is not. It is definitely. By the way, I don't know if you saw this, but like Roger Stone was caught on tape basically saying that there's this is a few weeks ago now. Well, it was caught on tape last year, but before January 6th. They were talking about January 6th, and he said it's time. And there's a couple of congressmen. He was talking to a former police officer who's like his bodyguard, saying that these guys needed to be kidnapped and needed to be taken care of. Okay, this is all on audio tape.
Ooh.
So he called the company or the magazine that put this out. And he said that was a lie. So they're like, oh, okay, well here's the audio recording, and they put it out. Guess where it was? Fort Lauderdale. It was a restaurant on Los Olas. Where he did like cafe something, and I was like, whoa.
Oh wait, Cafe Vico? No.
Yes,
Is it
Cafe Vico? And I was like, wow, this guy. I forget that he's our neighbor.
God. Yeah.
And then
We
he
still
goes to
haven't
these
ridden our
restaurants.
bike down by his house. We got to do.
We've been saying that since day one of this podcast, by the way.
know.
Anyway.
All right. Well, are you ready?
I think so. I'm gonna say something else too. I have to limit. I don't know if anybody else has done this or has to do this, but like I've been. The world is so dark, and I think that being exposed to so much information on Twitter is scary.
Yeah.
And so I've had to like limit myself the last couple of days, and just like as soon as I start to feel, it's like the doom scrolling.
Yeah.
As soon as I feel it, like I have to get off of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so
I think that's healthy.
I think it is healthy too. And so when they talk about like limiting 16-year-olds, I understand, but there's nothing being done on these. How about holding them accountable like a Twitter for allowing this misinformation?
Right.
You know, for allowing adults to be
I mean, now you see
hypnotized by this.
On Instagram, it'll pop up like none of this has been verified. This has been flagged as
the reader's context.
I would like to see more of that.
Yeah.
And then why not have it where it flags content where like you can't access it? Like if you're 16, you're under 18, and someone has an account where they're doing something provocative, or it's their OnlyFans or whatever the hell, that they they try to click on it and it blocks them because there's the age restriction in the phone, so then they can't have access to certain sites. You know what I mean? I feel, or certain people's accounts.
I would like the companies to clean up their messes.
Yeah.
You know,
There has to be a way that they can do that.
There has to be a federal government way. You can have free speech without having false information. Like if anything has been taught to us since Trump started running for office all those years ago, it's that there is fake information out there. And like, what is the government doing to actually clean that part up so that minds are not being infiltrated with garbage? Because that's what's happening. Like, I've never been on Truth Social, but I saw an interview with
I'm afraid to go on that.
Gavin Newsom, and he's on there, I guess, and he like reads through it. He says it's shocking, the amounts of threats, the false information.
That should not be even allowed to exist.
Let's go
as a
get
platform.
let's go get this guy. Let's go get that guy. Like, why is that even allowed? And if somebody's only getting information from Truth Social, that's how they stay in that MAGA camp, because it's mind control almost. So why don't you clean up the bad guys doing the things instead of trying to ban? That's North Korea.
Yeah.
North Korea only allows so much information to go. They ban everything. They get one news station and it's
theirs.
All right, sorry.
Oh God.
I know, it's scary. I'm the Texas thing. I'm very afraid of.
I am too.
And I think that
I just keep thinking like, what is the solution? Like, is it moving to the bluest state you can move to? Is it moving out of the country? Is it, is it just giving everything you have to fight to try to change it? Like,
I think about that all the time. Like, am I doing enough?
What
I would do? And then I go and I look to see what I can participate in, and there's something like our friend Melissa Schiff. She went out last week and they put door hangers on to tell people about
mail-in ballots.
Mail-in ballots. And they went to specific doors of people who have there's a list. You can see who are the Democrats who are now kicked off this mail. Yeah. You got to renew this. That is work.
Yes.
That's the work. Yeah. Bravo. That's the kind of shit that people should be doing.
Yeah.
That's a direct, we're going to give you this information, and people then go and they can scan it and they go and renew it. And that makes sense to me. That's a very small step that will be a ripple effect. That person will now be able to go vote. They're not going to be waiting for a ballot. They're going to know they have to go.
Then tell someone that they know,
Absolutely.
when it goes on.
That to me makes sense. I don't know. I'm at a loss. I try to think about, I was thinking the other day about how Nikki Fried never gave that $1 million. I'm still like thinking about that. And I know it's like she made these promises to these clubs and caucuses, and it's never going to happen, and like nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Nobody brings it up.
No one holds anybody accountable.
No. And
we need to do that within our own party, and really, like, Republicans need to do.
I also think gatekeeping. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying when I say that? Gatekeeping, like you can't get. It's hard to even get into an organization and feel welcome.
That's
because
true.
You want to be a leader, and then it's like, well, who are you?
And
how long have we known you?
Do you have to kiss?
Yeah, like you and also you have to behave a certain way when you're in those circles. Like you can't call people out, you can't ask questions because that you've now pissed people off. So now you no longer have access to or can become a leader in a group when. All we really need are people asking questions.
Yeah.
All we really need are people to shine a light on the way that you are doing this doesn't work. So let's try something new. And they don't allow people to have that space. And I don't know how it changes. I don't know how anything here is ever really going to change if we're not talking about the ways that we can improve the way things have been done.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And that's the thing about Florida. You know, I think that if we lived in Orange County and we were involved in that party, we would feel a lot different than what we do right now. We would have hope. Yeah. Because we've seen results. They put the work in and you see the results of the work.
Are we ready?
Happy Saturday.
I am kind of happy it's Saturday, to
me too.
be honest.
Girl, me too. Oh my God.
All right, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Today.
Please don't let it, I hope it's funny. No.
I'm going to tell you the story of the death.
Oh my God!
Of Karen Silkwood.
Ugh.
Activist Karen Silkwood.
Oh my God.
Was delivering important documents to a reporter. But in a tragic turn of events, a fatal car crash deepens the mystery.
What the fuck is this?
All right, so our story takes place in 1974 in Crescent, Oklahoma.
Okay.
All right, so some background. According to her entry on the Britannica Online, Silkwood grew up in Texas, and she had an affinity for chemistry in high school. She attended college to study medical technology in the early 60s, but she ends up leaving in 1965 to get married, which, you know, I think a lot of women did at the time. She was divorced in 1972, and that's when she moved to Oklahoma, and she was hired at Carroll McGee Samarin Fuel Fabrication Site Plant, that same year. So the plant made plutonium fuel pins.
I'm getting fucking Back to the Future vibes, bitch.
That would,
Oh my God.
That would be used as a reactor in nuclear power plants.
Okay.
All right. So she joins the union right away, and she participated in a 9-week strike. She also started monitoring the health and safety practices of the plant. And no surprise here, she found some issues. So this is plutonium, okay?
Yeah.
So things that she found were inadequate training of people handling the plutonium.
Oh my God, it's like
missing plutonium.
It's like Homer Simpson when he walks out with the
the radio. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And he does this, he throws out the window.
There's one episode where he's like drinking it, and he's like, it's insane. But imagine missing plutonium.
Homer Simpson is the best. He's gotta be the best.
My son has seen every single episode of The Simpsons.
Really?
He loves The Simpsons. My youngest.
Oh my God!
It's on every day in my house.
Oh my God!
Spills.
What?
Radioactive materials and so on.
This isn't like one thing. This is many things.
So she even testified with other union members in Washington, D.C., and it was before the Atomic Energy Commission about the state of the plant.
Oh my gosh.
But certain folks, corporate hacks, weren't too pleased with Silkwood and her drawing attention to these issues at the site plant. So the union legislative director she was communicating and working with at the time, Tony Mazzocchi, said, "When I explained the connection between plutonium exposure and cancer, it took Karen by surprise.
What?
She was angered at how Carroll McGee was taking workers' lives into its own hands. She herself had been in a contaminated room without a respirator just 2 months before.
Yeah, everybody there's got cancer. Everybody there has cancer now.
And so that's the issue, because there are some people like her who went in there and didn't realize that there may be a connection, right?
That is insane
the
to
60s,
me.
and then like this guy's like, yo, this is why you need to have these things, and now she's like looking around and going, oh my god.
It's like this is
the
now,
Radium Girls.
Yes!
Yeah. So,
explain what the Radium Girls is. They worked in a clock factory or a watch factory?
The watch factory. Remember we did an episode on it.
Did we do it, or was it My Favorite Murder? I remember hearing it.
We did an episode.
We did?
Yeah.
It was your show.
I think I did an episode.
Yeah. Where they would like put it in their mouths?
Well,
was it a watch factory?
But it was like, they well, at the time, like they even put it in like makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like these 3 women that were like the stardom and catalyst of like...
Yeah, they all had cancer from the radium.
Yes.
Yeah, the factory.
So in 1974, she files that complaint with the Atomic Energy Commission about the unsafe working conditions.
Oh my God.
So here's where things get interesting. According to a PBS Frontline article, on November 5th, of the same year, 1974, plutonium-239 was found on Karen Silkwood's hands while working on plutonium pellets. So basically her job was to grind and polish the plutonium pebbles through this, it's called a glove box. And self-monitoring showed high alpha activity on her body, and then they did a nasal swipe test and it revealed modest airborne plutonium exposure. And gloves used were replaced, but the thing is the plutonium was found on their outside surfaces. So it's like, how did the plutonium get there? There were no leaks found, and there was no plutonium on room surfaces or in the air. So, but then there's something is leaking somewhere, right? Because why would there be
on her skin,
on the gloves? So before I go on, I just want to talk about what alpha activity is. And alpha activity is basically a short range type of radiation. So it's like, you could have plutonium, which is cancerous, and it's on the surface, but you could wipe it with a tissue, or you could wipe it off something. But if it's in the air and you inhale it and it gets in your lungs, then you're screwed.
Oh my God.
So that's when it can cause cancer and other damages. So as a precautionary measure, Silkwood underwent cleanup and a 5-day urine feces collection for plutonium measurements, because they got to see, like, is it in her body? So she resumes work, but she avoided those glove boxes, and upon leaving the plant, self-monitoring showed no further contamination. The next day, on November 6th, Silkwood, despite not working at a glove box that morning, was detected to have alpha activity on her hands, right forearm, neck, and face as she left the laboratory.
Someone's fucking with her.
Leading to immediate decontamination. But checks on her locker and her car revealed no activity.
What is this, at her house?
So the following day, November 7th, Silkwood was found to have significant alpha activity on her hands, arm, chest, neck, and right ear, with high levels in the urine feces samples. And then they go to her apartment, because they're like, what's going on?
Someone's effing with her.
So her apartment showed notable activity in the bathroom and kitchen, including the toilet seat, floor mat, refrigerator items, and kitchen surfaces. But the total estimated plutonium in the apartment was no more than 300 micrograms. So they're saying, like, that's not a lot. I would be freaked the hell out if there was the tiniest speck of plutonium near me. Okay? So Silk told doctors that she had spilled the urine sample that morning and had cleaned it up, right? And so she, like, wiped it up. So that's where it might be on the toilet and on the surface. But then, like, you wipe it up and you might have some on your hand. Then she opened the fridge door and then she took something out of the fridge. So just like, you have a cold, you wipe your nose, and it was that, what was that? Mythbusters are like, let's see how far the germs spread. And they did, they put this stuff in their nose, and one person wiped it, and they were like, okay. And then one guy was a germaphobe. He's like, okay, I'm going to do what I normally do to try to avoid germs. And then they scanned, everybody at that table had the fluorescence on them. From one person going like that and sharing it. That's how quick stuff spreads. Yeah. So that same idea here, like, she could have had the tiniest from, like, wiping, and maybe she even washed her hands or whatever, but, like, it's still there. So Care McGee found the levels in her apartment worrisome, so they wanted more testing done. They asked for Silkwood, and then they also asked if she had a roommate with the last name Ellis, who they had traces, and her boyfriend, Drew Stevens, they said, all of you guys got to go to the lab because you've all been in the apartment. We got to see what's going on.
What the fuck is going on here?
Ellis and Stevens showed very trace amounts of plutonium, but Silkwood had more. So despite the amount, the doctor told her that she would be fine and did not think she'd get cancer and that she'd be able to have children safely, because she was like, am I going to still be able to have kids with this exposure? She was afraid, right?
Oh my God, girl, that'd be the last thing I'm worried about. Am I going to die? What about her? Is she going to die? Kids, get the fuck.
I know. Well, she's, young and
please.
Who knows. So at this point, Silkwood and Ellis could return to work, but they were not to do any radiation work because Ellis worked at the plant with her.
Okay.
All right, so what the heck is happening? How is she exposed? So let's get into this. There's no clear indication. Now, we're going to see that the company tries to blame Silkwood for all the things that happen. But let me kind of jump into the major incident.
Oh, God.
So, according to history, on November 13th, 1974, Silkwood is driving her car down a desolate road in Crescent, Oklahoma, to meet with a union rep and a New York Times reporter to provide documents that prove that Karen McGee was acting negligently and putting worker safety in jeopardy.
Ugh.
But she never got to the meeting. She's killed in a car crash on the way there. But allegedly, she veered off the road and slammed into a concrete culvert. So a concrete culvert is basically like, like the round concrete tubes that are like underneath the highway and the water comes out. So she allegedly just went off the road and crashed in one of those and dies instantly, right? And but her car had paint scrapings and a dent on the back bumper.
So somebody pushed her.
That some believe suggest her car was pushed off the road to crash. And those documents she had ready to go,
gone.
Nowhere to be found.
Okay.
No trace of them in her vehicle.
Come on, man. Tina, somebody better get arrested.
A police officer at the time, Sebring, stated, quote, "There wasn't any binders in that car when I picked it up out of the ditch. There wasn't any paperwork, a folder, a book, or anything like that." Reporter David Burnham, who was waiting for Silkwood, had this to say in his article at the time, as reported by News Channel 8. Quote, "It was an eerie night, driving through the straight Oklahoma highway to get there. The speculation, of course, is that, she's silenced for what she knew."
Of course.
Burnham further wrote, "Would Karen McGee, this massive corporation, murder one of its employees? That's a very big deal, very big step for them to take." But years later, Burnham conceded that, quote, "It was really unlikely that Karen McGee executives would try to kill her, especially in a way that's so dubious. Running into the back of the car, how's that going to work?" So here's the other thing. Her autopsy reveals that she had a lot of quaaludes in her system.
What?
Which may have led her to doze off, but the skid marks, along with the dent and the paint, point to something more sinister. So there's really they don't know. But there are no charges because the autopsy and findings suggest that she died in the car crash, and the police officer at the scene said that maybe she fell asleep at the wheel, and if she had all those quaaludes in her system, she could have very well fallen asleep.
Why would this woman
pop a bunch of quaaludes on her
Yes!
So she was known to take drugs.
So what? This is something that's clearly important to her.
Yeah.
She's testifying in D.C.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. You're telling me she's going to get drugged out before she drives?
It doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. So some of the
By the way,
aftermath.
what's the quaalude? What is this? What is it? What is it? Is it something? Do we call it quaalude, but it's actually something else?
Oh gosh.
Is it just a sleeping pill, or
I think it's
a downer?
The only thing I know about quaaludes is from the movie Up in Smoke.
Oh my God.
Where they pick up the chick and she's like, "You got any lewds?" and Cheech is like, "Lewds?" And she goes, I got some lewds. You want some lewds?" And then remember, they're in the back of the van and they get stuck doing something and everyone thinks they're doing it.
I've never seen this movie.
You've never seen Up in Smoke with Cheech?
No.
All right. Homework assignment. It's on
too
Netflix.
much homework. You already gave me another homework assignment.
No. This surpasses. It is the
All
funniest
right, I'll write
damn
down
movie.
watch Up in Smoke.
Remember? Oh my God! I think there's a bevy of nuns. It's the funniest thing.
I know, you've talked to me about the bevy of nuns before.
Oh my God!
Anyway, so no experience with lewds. So lewd
Yes.
is a downer. It makes you sleepy.
Yes. All right. So
This doesn't make sense.
no. So the autopsy revealed the drugs in her system, but it also revealed that she had much more plutonium in her system than the plant said she did.
What?
Silkwood's father sued Karen McGee for his daughter's death, and he won. They settled for $1.3 million.
Holy shit.
But where things get mucky is that her father alleged in court that Karen McGee and the FBI worked together to violate his daughter's civil rights. That part was dismissed, and the focus was instead put on the physical harm from the plutonium, according to an article by George J. Annis for the Public Health and Law. Ultimately, the FBI, the Atomic Energy Commission, and Karen McGee all discredited Silkwood's claims, and only the civil case ever happened. They were trying to suggest that she stole plutonium to spike her urine, but the jury didn't believe it.
What?
Like, who would ingest or try to prove her point? No way.
No.
If she's concerned about cancer and having kids, you're not going to fuck around with that. I don't think so.
Makes no sense.
Karen McGee closed the plant in 1979.
Wow.
Tom Stewart, who purchased the plant and turned it into a manufacturing plant for airplane parts, told News Channel 8 after giving a tour and pointing out where plutonium rods used to be held, quote, "Obviously there were problems here. I think that was what Karen was going to report on when she met her demise."
Would you ever, even if it's a car like manufacturer, would you ever step foot in that building?
No.
I would never trust that it's
that
clear.
It's clear. No way.
Oh my God.
So some points of interest, Kerr, who was part owner of the plant, was once a U.S. Senator in Oklahoma.
Oh!
But he died 10 years before any of this happened.
Oh, okay.
I know. Meryl Streep.
I was going to say, what?
Starred as Silkwood, and Cher starred as her roommate in the movie called Silkwood, and that was released in 1983. The National Whistleblower Center notes Karen Silkwood as the first nuclear whistleblower.
Wow.
And according to United Steelworkers, Silkwood was the first woman ever elected to the local's 3-person bargaining committee.
Wow.
So that's the story of the mysterious death of Karen Silkwood. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're on your way, you're on a desolate road.
When you said desolate, I was like, uh-oh.
You know,
that doesn't make sense.
And like, you're going to pop a bunch of Quaaludes, like, I don't know. Even if you do take Quaaludes, it doesn't add up. Mm-mm. And if they're finding all those Quaaludes in her system, like, did they kick in yet? Like, did they?
That's what I was thinking. You know? Like, could whatever's in her system be from the night before? Like, couldn't there still be drugs in her system, but it's not affecting how she's behaving?
I don't know.
You know how they can test you for drugs and it's like, it's in the last 30 days? Like, maybe it was something like that.
Yeah.
Why would she take Quaaludes on the way to this meeting with the New York Times reporter? Like, that makes no sense.
And where's the folder? If her boyfriend's like, she was on her way there, where is the folder? Like, where is it? Like, if your only purpose was to go meet these dudes, why aren't you bringing the stuff with you? You're bringing the stuff with you. Something's not right.
Something's not right. That's fucked up.
What else? Oh.
Yeah.
So I started watching this when it first came out, and then I stopped because, whatever. Like, I think I started watching something else with my husband. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
I have one episode left, and I got to tell you, I love this show so much.
It?
It's called Beef.
Oh, I haven't watched it. Fuck! Justin told me a year ago to watch it. They're winning all kinds of awards.
It is.
I heard.
So incredibly brilliant. Watch it. It's funny.
I gotta watch
it. The last episode, you're like, oh my god, but then you're laughing, and it's.
I gotta
so
watch it. All right.
Good.
All right.
So when I'm at the gym, I bought this thing because I'm like, I cannot sit on the treadmill with this stupid. You get 5 channels. It's like Fox News, CNN. I'm like, so I bought this thing where I can put it over the top and I can have my phone and I can watch my phone because I'm not like this, so it's like straight ahead. And let me tell you, I've gone through this whole damn season. And I'm like doing my running, and I'm like, oh shit, my time's over because I'm so consumed into this show.
Yeah.
Oh, like,
God,
the time goes
all right, I'll start watching it today.
So good.
I've heard, and they're, what's his name, Stephen Yoon and Ali Wong.
Oh my
they're winning all kinds of amazing awards.
She is brilliant.
They won Golden Globes,
she
Emmys.
Is funny.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's all over a stupid beef. Like, it's so it's just how this one stupid moment spirals and destroys it's good.
All right, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I heard him, well, of course, I heard him on Mark Maron recently, and it was really good, and he talked about the show, and Mark asked if they were going to come back for a season 2. He's like, I don't know, maybe. You know, they haven't really talked about it, but...
Oh, so I got to see how this one ends, because right now, I'm like, what is going to happen? Oh, my God.
So I just finished, let me tell you something. My son watched this show called Ragnarok, right, on Netflix, and it's 3 seasons, and he's like, you gotta watch it. I'm like, I can't with another fucking superhero. I cannot. He's like, no, it's not like that. Yes, it's Thor, but it's not like that. Just watch it. It's Norwegian. It's a Netflix show from Norway. So this show is so fucking good.
Really?
Tina, it's all about Norse mythology.
Oh, my son might like this.
It's
what is it called?
It's called Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
And it's, you know, the guy who, the Thor is a teenager. He's like 17. And you see him get the powers. You see him discover what it is. You just see him discover, and he's got a brother who you know is Loki, right? But it's like all these different, and it's fucking incredible. I finished it last night. I did not like the finale, okay? I'm going to tell you, I was very disappointed.
Oh, was it like a Dexter finale?
I don't want to say what happens, but it's like the worst thing that TV writers and like producers do. It's one of these twists that you're like, go fuck yourself. Yeah. Like, I was like, and then I finished it, I went out to my son, I'm like, is this what I think just happened? He goes, yeah. I go, why? Like, I don't understand why writers do this. Just do the thing we've been waiting for. Like, why are you twisting this around? But it's a fucking great show. The acting is good. The scenery in Norway, holy shit.
Does that mean we need to move?
Oh my God. Tina, beautiful. And the story's great. There's teen drama, you know what I mean? But it's not cheesy.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely fantastic. I fucking loved every second of it. And it's not, there's no Marvel bullshit. It's all very following that Norse mythology, and like the characters are so funny and good, and I don't know, I just loved every second of it except the ending. I was disappointed, but what are you gonna do?
The other show I'm watching is this Death and Other Details.
Okay, I keep seeing commercials for that
really
on Hulu.
Cute. It's really cute. It's funny, but like,
who's the guy in it? I love him so much.
Mandy
Patinkin.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
he's great. He's great. And the whole, it's you know, like a closed door murder kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, it's got some funniness to it's just, I'm enjoying it. But I forget that Hulu like drops it once a week. Yeah. So now I'm like, I gotta wait.
I know. I'm gonna start watching True Detective because they've got
I started that.
Is it good?
The new one with Jodie Foster. Yeah. You know, all of them have this kind of, the first season was just...
Yeah, no, you can't top it. It's hard. It's hard to top the first season of True Detective.
But there's always some kind of weird supernatural...
Yes.
And I feel like... I wish I would have gone back to watch them because I feel like there's some kind of thread connecting these three.
I rewatched the first one a couple months ago, and I've seen the second season, but it's been too long, and I've seen the third season, but again, it's been too long. But my mom told me, because she's watched these first 2 episodes.
Yeah. I've watched
that. So remember Matthew McConaughey's character in the first season? Yes. Apparently, he grew up in Alaska with his dad. Apparently, his dad is mentioned in the first episode. I don't know if his dad's in the first episode of this new season, but his dad's name is mentioned. So there is some sort of connection to that character from the first season of Detective and his dad, who's supposedly in Alaska. There is some sort of connection there.
Jodie Foster is so good.
Let me tell you something about Jodie Foster.
She is so good.
Let me tell you something.
And I gotta tell you, and I know
fucking love her
this all the time, but she didn't fucking plastic up her face.
She looks fantastic.
She looks good.
She looks her age.
She's like, she has a scene where she hooks up with someone. I'm like,
yeah, she's hot.
Let's go.
By the way, did you ever watch Nyad?
I haven't seen it. Okay. There's a whole reason why. But.
Okay, but I know. The local... Okay, forget it.
Yeah.
You have to watch it. Do it on your own then, because Annette Bening is fucking incredible. She's just nominated for an Oscar for this movie. And I think Jodie Foster was also nominated because they're both in it.
She's great.
This Nyad is such a great movie because I forgot how many times... I thought she just did it in one thing. It took her years to swim from Cuba to the Keys.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's an incredible story.
Jodie Foster in this movie. Well, the thing about this movie is like they're in the dark. It's like
the TV show.
In True Detective is they're in the dark season.
Yeah, of Alaska.
And I don't even know how I would be able to handle just complete darkness.
Yeah.
But it's creepy, it's weird, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? What did they discover?
How is, now there's somebody else in the show with her that she looks really interesting, and I was trying to figure out who's the, let me see. Oh, Kali Reyes? She plays Trooper Evangeline Navarro.
Oh,
is she
great.
good? Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks. She looks very interesting, and I was like, oh, I want to see like what she's like in the show.
I
got to start watching it.
Yeah, you have to. And you're only, because I think there's only 2 episodes out. I think the 3rd one comes out this week.
Yeah. Let me tell you another show on Netflix, because my daughter and I love watching these true crime, like culty kind of documentaries together.
Are you watching The Daughters of the whatever?
No. But we watched American Nightmare. Which,
I watched that. I
didn't know what it was about until it's fucking insane.
It's crazy.
I felt, we're like culty, not rapey, and this is rapey. And I was like, I don't know. Like when we were done watching it, I was fucking freaked out, but also like, fuck the cops.
Yeah.
Like, fuck the police.
Like they just did not believe her.
But they didn't believe a lot of the women in the story who had been assaulted. And and then I'm watching with her, and I was like,
the guy's like the guy next door.
Oh God, it's so fucked up.
Yeah. You know, like when it all comes together, and because the whole time we're watching it, my husband's like, she's got to be making this up. You know,
you don't know. That's the whole thing.
Like that's how they play it, and you're like,
but you know what's so funny?
Like, none of this makes sense.
So the first episode is about the husband or the boyfriend, and I said when you see her walking up the street, I said to my daughter, "Oh, this is like Gone Girl, the movie Gone Girl."
Yes.
And the next thing you know, it's like Gone Girl.
Yes.
And how about the FBI agent saying to that to the trooper, "Oh, have you seen the movie Gone? It's like Gone Girl," and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? This woman was raped.
Yeah.
Why are you comparing it to a movie? This is real life."
It was.
It's really. It's a fucking night. You talk about a nightmare. But then, of course, at the end, with her and the husband and the kids, and I was like on the beach, and I'm like, I can't do it. But the message, the moral of the story is, nobody cares about our bodies like that. And I had to say this to my daughter like 3 or 4 times. I had to grab her and go, they don't protect us, right? Like they don't care about our bodies. Like there's nobody coming to protect us. We have to be protecting ourselves because the law doesn't even do it. Like what the fuck? Look at what's happening in Texas. 26,000 women.
26,000 women. Across the U.S., it's like 60-something thousand women. What are we doing to women? What are we doing? If you love us, if you make love to us, if you love us, you hold us, you care for us, we give birth to your children, like, right? We take care of you. We teach your children. We help you with build your businesses. We're active in our community. We raise our children. We're human beings like you.
If you love us, show us in the voting booth. That's where you show you love women. Show us in the voting booth. That's where you show us.
But then there's the women who
and we don't need to talk about them.
Yeah.
We don't need to discuss MAGA people. We don't need to discuss women who are traitors to other women. We don't need to discuss you. We are more than them. There are more of us than there are of them. There are.
It took everything in my being when I was at Joanne Fabrics buying yarn.
That's MAGA Central, bitch.
That's MAGA Central. There were these 2 old ladies, and I was looking for, and I gotta tell you, I was annoyed because there was a big sale and there was no yarn left for what I wanted to do, and then
that
I had to
Joanne Fabrics
things
over here never has anything, by the way. It's always empty shelves.
Always empty.
What the fuck?
So I ended up getting what I needed, but I'm like looking around, whatever, and I overhear this woman talking about like they're debating on like baby yarn and which baby yarn, whatever, and she's like, well, this is the one that I always use when I make the stuff for the Right for Life. And I was like, I gotta get out of this aisle because I'm gonna start screaming in the middle of Joanne Fabrics.
Yes, I don't know if you ever saw this video, but there's a video of someone like a TikTok. They went to Hobby Lobby, which we all know is also ground zero for MAGA.
I never go there. I'll go without yarn before I go to Hobby Lobby.
They had slips of paper.
Oh, yes.
And when it's folded, it looks like, on the outside, it looks like $100 bill. And they would just put it in like they drop one on the floor, they'd put it on the shelf. And when you take it out and you open it, it says, "Fuck Donald Trump."
Yeah. I wish I could find one of those, because wouldn't that be like amazing? Yeah. I'd be like, yes! Score! Yeah. Oh my
my God. Well, there's a special place in hell for women who go after other women, so.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Thank you for not making us into insane women.
When their time comes, show them the way, Lord. Show them the way. You know what to do. You know what to do.
Oh my God.
That was an Eric the Actor reference from Howard Stern. You know what to do.
Oh.
All right, let's get out of here.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.